SAT prep, non-calc coming at you, and we got a doozy here. If x is greater than 3, which of the following is equivalent to that complex fraction? When we got fractions and fractions, we call those complex fractions. First thing I want to address here is this x is greater than 3. What does that do for me in this problem? Well, that just makes sure that my expression is defined. There's no way that my denominators, the x plus 2 or the x plus 3, can become 0 if all my x values are always greater than 3. So really that doesn't play a role in the algebra that you're about to do, but they do list that in order to make sure that the expression here is defined. All right, enough of that. Now on to the real deal here. I got to get a common denominator within my denominator, meaning I'm going to need to multiply by each other's denominators in this problem. So I have to multiply the left fraction here by x plus 3 over x plus 3, because that doesn't have an x plus 3. And then I need to multiply the right one by x plus 2 over x plus 2. Boom. Love it. Fantastic. That's going to give me a common denominator of x plus 3 over x plus 2 within my denominator. Let's see what that looks like. So now we've got a common denominator of x plus 3 times x plus 2. So I was able to write that all in one numerator there. So let's take another look here a little bit closer. Now I have that 1 times x plus 3 and that 1 times x plus 2. But because we're multiplying by 1, doesn't really matter. I can actually just get rid of those. If they were like a 2 or a 3 or something else, I'd need to distribute it in. So really at this point, I can just go ahead and combine some like terms in that numerator of my denominator of this complex fraction. So I'm going to have 1 divided by, and then I'll have x plus x is 2x plus 3 plus 2 is going to give me 5. My denominator, if we take a look at all of my answers here, so let's zoom back out. If I take a look at my answers, they're all FOILed out at this point. They're all distributed out. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to have x times x is x squared, and then x times 2 is 2x, and 3 times x is 3x. 2x plus 3x gives me 5x, and then 3 times 2 is 6. And you might be looking at me like, hey man, I think the answer is A because I see this 2x plus 5 divided by x squared plus 5x plus 6. And you'd be dead wrong, all right? What we need to do is we're actually 1 divided by that. We need to get that reciprocal, whoop, okay, and multiply it by that 1. So let's write that down. I'm going to have x squared plus 5x plus 6 divided by 2x plus 5, because when I'm dividing by a fraction, I can multiply by its reciprocal. And I'm really going to have that 1 right out here to be 1 times that. But does that really matter if I'm doing 1 times that whole mess? No, it's not going to change anything. So this now is my final answer. The answer is B. And boy, that was awesome. Woo! That was a doozy. I hope you guys loved it. I loved it. America, freedom, rock and roll, Costco, River Dog, Jenny on the gram. See you later. Deuces. In triangle ABC above, what is the length of AD? So I'm just looking for this length right here. Well, we've got ourselves, looks like some 30, 60, 90 triangles here because I got a right angle, which makes this guy 30 up here because I'm going to have 180 degrees in a triangle. Perhaps we review our 30, 60, 90 triangles. So in our 30, 60, 90 triangles, our shortest side is across from our smallest angle, which is the 30-degree angle. We can label that X. In order to get the side that's across from my 60-degree angle, I'd have to multiply that by root 3. And in order to get the one that's across from my 90-degree angle, I'd have to double it. Well, what situation do I have right now? Currently, I have the side that's across from my 90-degree angle, my largest side. So to get my short side that's across from the 30, I would cut that in half, and I would get 6. Now, these two triangle halves in this problem here are actually congruent to each other for a multitude of reasons. So we can actually just take that 6. It's going to be the same as AD right here. And also check this out. I've got 60 degrees up top. I got 60 degrees down bottom right. I'm going to have 60 degrees right here as well. This is an equilateral triangle. All those sides are 12. That guy's just cut in half. So really, we could have done this problem a couple different ways. The answer is 6. Hopefully, the 30, 60, 90 triangles ring a bell. You guys have an awesome day. In a right triangle, one angle measures x degrees, where sine of x degrees equals 4 over 5. What is cosine of 90 minus x? Or in other words, cosine of that complement. Woo! We got some trig. Let me throw down a triangle. So we got this right triangle here. Why don't we go ahead and call this angle here x degrees, okay? Now, sine, if you remember, is opposite over hypotenuse. So that means that my opposite side would end up being 4, and my hypotenuse would be 5. Okay, so we want, what is the cosine of 90 minus x? Well, 90 minus x would be my other angle here. It'd be the complement of that, right? Because those two angles need to add to 90 degrees since 90 is already accounted for in the right angle of this right triangle. So I'm looking at it from that angle up there. Well, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So which side is my adjacent side when looking at it from over here? That would be my 4, and then my hypotenuse would be 5. So my answer here is going to be still 4 over 5. Now, since this one is a free response, we'd have to grid this in. So let's practice gridding it in. It'd be 4/5. Okay, so we have 4, bubble that in. Then I need to make my fraction with that slash there. And then I've got my 5. This also could have been shifted over, okay, and looked like this. You also could have done a decimal of 0.8. We don't have a calculator. Not everybody's cool with converting to decimals there. I think 4/5 is probably your easiest way of going about this one. Hope that helps. The density D of an object is found by dividing the mass M of the object by its volume. Which of the following equations gives mass M in terms of D and V? Well, let's look at the original here where it says the density D of an object is found by dividing the mass of the object by its volume. So D is equal to the mass of the object divided by its volume. So there's my initial equation. But here we want the mass M in terms of D and V. So I need to get M by itself. Well, it's a pretty quick algebraic maneuver here. We're going to multiply by V on both sides. That'll get me M by itself. And now I have V times D, or D times V would work. Multiplication is commutative. The choice is A. That is awesome. And we done. A dairy farmer uses a storage silo that is in the shape of the right circular cylinder above. If the volume of the silo is 72 pi cubic yards, what is the diameter of the base of the cylinder in yards? All right, so it'd be helpful if we knew our volume of a right circular cylinder that we have right here. And lucky for us, I have it off the top of my head. But if you don't remember what it is given to you in the formula sheet, but you're going to have to flip through some pages, man. Got to flip back and look for that formula. That wastes time. Time is money, baby. All right, here we go. My volume is 72 pi, and that equals pi times my radius squared. I don't know my radius, but I can use that to get my diameter multiplied by my height, which is 8. Now my pi's are going to cancel out, and then I'm going to go ahead and divide by 8 on both sides. Those 8's cancel, and now I'm left with 9 equaling r squared. How am I going to solve that? I'm going to take the square root on both sides, and I'm going to get r equals 3. I mean, might be like, hey man, I'm ready to bubble my answer, but hold up, hold the phone. Diameter is what they want. So we got to multiply that by 2, and we're going to get the diameter is 6. Let's grid that in. Here we go. We got our 6. We can just throw it here at the end. You can throw it in the middle. You can throw it at the beginning. It's up to you. It's only one number. Boom. We are done with this problem. That was awesome. Again, you have the formulas for this, but if you remember them, it's going to save you time, and time's money, baby. Woo! If t is greater than 0 and t squared minus 4 equals 0, what is the value of t? Well, here I can go ahead and solve for t, and I'm going to get t squared equals 4 after I add 4 to both sides. And now I'm going to square root on both sides, and I'll get t equals plus or minus 2, right? That's the official answer, that t is equal to plus or minus 2. But because of this stipulation here in the original problem that t is greater than 0, I know that my only answer is the positive version of it. So 2 is what I'm going to grid in. And it actually doesn't matter where you grid this 2, as long as you just have a 2 somewhere. I could even just pop it right here. Whoop, boom. All right. You know, for me, I'm probably going to put it at the start or the finish just because I feel weird about putting it somewhere in the middle there. I'm just going to go with the 2. You actually don't need to write the 2 up top either. That's just for you to help you out, but you can just go ahead and bubble in the 1, 2. Dunzo. Which of the following is an equivalent form of the equation of the graph shown in the xy plane above, from which the coordinates of vertex A can be identified as constants in the equation? Holy guacamole, that's a whole lot there. First off, constants, those are just numbers. 1, 2, 7, -8. Those are constants, they're just numbers. They do not have a variable attached to them. So we're saying that we want to be able to see the vertex in this equation, okay? So what is vertex form? That is vertex form. And if you remembered that, clear answer right here has to be choice D. Let's talk a little bit more about it though. My coordinates of A. Coordinates of A are 1, well, I think we're thinking that it's -16. Okay, it looks like it's just below -15, and that fits our answer, right? Thing to remember here is that inside the parentheses that are getting squared, the sign is opposite the coordinate of the vertex. Since it's x minus h, x minus 1, the positive 1, would give us that result. Right? Outside of the stuff being squared is normal. So when it's down at -16, you're going to see -16 in that equation. Hopefully that helps you guys out. That was a challenging problem. A lot of people might have picked answer A because that's the factored form of this equation that they give us. They're trying to trick you. You got to be careful. You got to be careful. Read carefully. Know the words. Constants are numbers without variables attached. You guys have a great day.